Well, hey everyone, how are you doing? Oh, let me turn that music down. I wasn't sure if it was gonna go, like swap over immediately or not. It didn't. Anyway, hey, happy, what is it? Sunday. Happy Sunday to you all. It is Kristi. It is therefore time for Weekend Winters. So let me just quickly change where my audio is coming out of so it's not coming out of my external speakers because you can't hear that. How is everyone doing today? So I want to say hi, Sib Wolf in the chat. Good to see you. A to Decay. Michael Mistaken is also here joining us this morning. DN Fan, as well as Flint. So hello everyone. I hope you are doing well wherever it is, whenever it is you are. I am on holiday, technically Friday at 5 o'clock-ish. I am now officially on holiday for the next 2 weeks. And when I got up this morning, I was like, I don't want to do Weber. I don't want to do Weber on my holiday. So what I thought I would do instead is that I am going to do a reaction. I'm going to do an AMA, and then I'm probably going to end this at like 30 minutes because I'm on vacation. Oh, thanks, Flint. Who kicks more butts, hobbits or halflings? Halflings, I think. Because the stats on hobbits, I'm not sure of the official stats on halflings. But halflings, of course, in 5e, have a nice ability. They can move through creatures' spaces because they're so small, and they can hide behind them, and then they can, do a ranged attack. So I think until I see a stats by stats comparison of hobbits to halflings, I'm going to have to go with halflings. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Fox of Fate. Yeah, Prager. But I saw this and it looked so cringe. And so we'll start with that. But if you guys have questions for me in the middle of this, just go ahead and type AMA so that I know that it's an AMA question, and then I will treat it as such. If you don't, I might just think you're being ironic, for instance. So, a vague disclaimer is nobody's friend. That's a line from the character Willow in Buffy. That's how old that line is. Great nerdy answer. Yes. All right. We're going to look at this and then, have a quick show. And then I'm going to go on continue my day of holiday. Actually, I'm going to do some more D&D prep. But PragerU isn't even a university. It's literally a complete sham. There's no degrees offered, there's no accreditation, there's no quality control, there's no peer review, there's no oversight. You can't transfer any credits to a normal, legitimate university because nothing that they put out is worth value. Oh, that was an AMA question from you. Okay. The PragerU X smiley face? Oh, wait. A fake university. It's a fake university. So I did answer that as a serious question. I only have to be faster than the halfling. Yes. All right, so this looks absolutely awful. This is right-wing propaganda around September 11th. Now, before we even start this video, right, this is aimed at kids, right? So growing up, did I, as a child, Was there a Schoolhouse Rock about Pearl Harbor? Nope. No. Was there ever a cartoon series about, I don't know, Japanese internment camps or, fighting the Nazis, like for kids? Think about the age group this is, right? So what would be the purpose of creating a tale around a terrorist attack in America? My suspicion is it's going to demonize Muslims. It's not going to be specific about the Saudi Arabia connection, right? And that it was very localized to Saudi Arabia. Instead, it's going to probably be more vague, would be my guess. This looks awful. So let's get going, because the sooner we get through this, the sooner I can go back to being on vacation. Yeah, Arnett, sure. Just like the laziness is setting in on me now. Oh, I need to put on the sound, sadly. You actually have to hear this. I'm sorry to have to subject you to this, y'all, but this is how the reaction videos work. So let's go. Do I have it on the right sound system? I think I do. I should just have more confidence. Yes, it's all is good. Nope, it's still coming through my external speakers. So I need to turn that off or y'all gonna hear that twice. And you don't need to hear it once, let alone twice. Now, why can't I hear it? This is stupid.
Welcome to Otto's Tales.
Oh, shut up. And why is it that I can hear... let me just check my advanced audio properties and make sure it should be monitor and output. Were y'all hearing that? You just, that should be working just fine, and yet for some reason I'm not hearing it through my headphones, which I should be. Coax. Yep, that's the right one. So I'm going to hit play one more time and see if... I see it showing up on my audio. Like, you all should be able to hear this. So let's try that one more time. So weird. Oh! I solved the problem. Sometime when I moved, I must have been so far. I'm going to need to get an extender. It only goes to here, and if I turn my head, it pops out. So I think I found the problem. Oh, thanks. I was too lazy to wash my hair this morning. That's why I'm wearing a baseball cap. I'm like, this'll do. All right. Let's continue on. Now I actually have to hear this, which I'm slightly sad for, but...
Welcome to Otto's Tales, story time brought to you by Prager U Kids. I'm Jill, here with Otto, and today we're reading a book about a very important day that happened in United States history. Now, this is a serious story that was scary for a lot of people, but this story also shows us how many heroes there are all around us and how much Americans can love and help each other when we need it.
Except like when you get people shouting all lives matter to shut down people who are pointing out areas where people don't actually have equal rights and stuff. Plugging in definitely does help, yes. So I think that, yeah, like I said, I need to get an extension cord. It's not a serious issue. Like over 3,000 people died on September 11th. And while, yes, it was nice that we had a national response, I can think of a lot of other situations where you could get that theme without exploiting Islamophobic undertones, which is what I'm expecting. It does feel creepy AF. Absolutely. I completely agree with that, which is why I thought, oh, this would be a good thing to look at and analyze for fascist propaganda undertones. Yeah, do you like... Sib Wolf is definitely not down with the cheap looking... Like, yeah, they have enough money at Prager to get a decent costume, This one just looks like it was ordered off the internet on a discount, post-Halloween sale, 30% off kind of thing. Yep.
Hey, Otto, why don't you get comfy and listen?
Yeah, just fall asleep as I tell you the tale of a bunch of people dying in a horrible national tragedy. 'Cause that's good for kids.
Okay. Let's read Otto's Tales. Today is September 11th. Ruff. I'm Otto. Today is September 11th, a tragic day in our nation's history. It's important to never forget what happened that fateful day in 2001. We also remember how the country came together, strong and united, after facing a very sad and hard time.
It's interesting that they're using this kind of rally around the flag reaction. Yeah, I just feel like this is going to get politicized pretty quickly here because PragerU has a terrible track record for being honest.
My best friend Dennis climbed to the top of the kitchen counter. "This is our big red fire truck," he said. "I'm on top of the ladder." "It can be our time machine," I barked. "There's a lot to learn on our next adventure," Dennis said. "Let's roll." Zoom! We traveled back to New York City.
This is getting
A
weird
lovely morning,
already.
I said. "Sure is pretty." A September day, the sky bright blue, lots of people at work with lots of business to do. At the World Trade
This is all leading up to an attack that kills 3,000 people. This is dark, man. This is seriously dark. I don't know how, I can't think of a single other thing produced for kids that's designed to, talk to them about a terrorist attack. This is, okay.
Center, we planned to spend several hours. There's a spectacular view atop the Twin Towers. A day like all others, we had nothing to dread. We had a snack in the plaza, and Dennis patted my head. But while we were
It would be like doing a kid's book about the Titanic. That's the only parallel I can kind of think of in terms of tragedy, loss of life. And yeah, you could say that there were heroic people who helped the survivors or, some people. But at the end of the day, tons of people died because of a tragedy. This just seems exploitative. This just seems so, this whole thing, oh, look, the Twin Towers, life is good. And now we're about to be attacked. It's just weird. It's just weird. Yeah, I agree. The tone is wrong, even for something aimed at kids. Change this to the Titanic, and does that, do any of the objections change? I don't think they do. I don't think this is storybook content appropriate stuff for kids that they're aiming it at here.
busy eating and talking, very bad men with an evil plan were plotting.
Very bad men with an evil plan. Okay. Again, we're talking about several Saudi nationals who were radicalized in reaction to American foreign policy. But losing all of that nuance, it's just, I already said, it's going to conflate Muslims with evilness. Right? It's already, the stench of Islamophobia is starting to waft up into my nostrils here.
A few short minutes, our world would be changed by 19 terrorists boarding 4 planes.
Okay. Okay. I already said I'm not going to repeat myself.
They hated our country.
Again, this is like teaching about Pearl Harbor without actually giving the context that the U.S. was doing an oil embargo on Japan and they were about to run out of oil. And so in part, they were, to fuel, their motorized vehicles, they launched a preemptive attack in response to that. But if you just take away that context, this is unchecked aggression, this is unprovoked. And the fact that this was a long-standing, this terrorist thing is in part a blowback from us, the United States, funding the Mujahideen in the 1980s. And the rhyming of this, terrorist tragedy is gross as well. It's already basically just demonizing and not providing any context. Muslims are bad. That's...
Its people so free. A world without America they wanted to see.
See, it's an existential threat. These are evil men with a bad plan. And this is what they want to indoctrinate into kids, to hate these people. And then these people is going to be linked with Muslims. Not individual terrorists, but Muslims, because this is an Islamophobic piece of propaganda.
Osama bin Laden was the bad man in charge. His group called Al-Qaeda had grown quite large.
See, now they're being explicitly Islamophobic. I don't understand why anyone would think that a terrorist tragedy in which over 3,000 people, not Americans, 3,000 people from around the world died that day. People from multiple countries, over a dozen, I'm sure. But Americans want to claim all of that as harm to us, which I get. There's a disproportion. The buildings and most of the people were American, but the lack of that sense of the global effect, and also to do anything to specify the narrowness of the group, right? It's mindless. They hate us for our freedoms.
Just as we finished our yummy
basically.
treat, a sound was heard by all on the street. "Look there," said Dennis. "What's that up in the sky?" It was a plane flying low that should have been high. The plane hit one of the towers in a fiery flash.
I can't believe they're doing rhyming poetry to a terrorist attack. I can't believe they're doing rhyming couplets about people dying in order to scare kids into hating Muslims.
There was a huge explosion and a very loud crash. We all stood shocked, not knowing what to do. Was America under attack? No one quite knew. And just then, the other tower was hit by plane number 2. The first responders that arrived were so brave. They thought only of the people their efforts might save. The firemen ran toward the buildings as smoke filled the air. They displayed great courage, a trait very rare.
Can I just say objectively, the thing about this preemptive attack was that it was actually embarrassing on an international scale to America. I know they're trying to recast this, but the fact that our security didn't catch these people and that the planes were also were allowed to fly and attack the buildings and nobody saw it coming, that there was a failure of intelligence on this with the chatter and the planning and the screening and everything else. It was an attack on American sort of reputation in the world. It showed and exposed us as there was a vulnerability. Someone mentioned seeing the New York skyline without the Twin Towers was like looking at somebody smiling and having their true front teeth missing. That psychological impact was at the time, having been alive, I lived through this. As an adult, I remember. There's nothing about that in here. They want to take all of that part of it and then refocus it from an embarrassment into a hero story by focusing on the first responders who absolutely, people were running into those buildings while other people were running out. But what I bet this won't say is that the Republicans and other people, and there's basically Republicans in Congress, haven't actually taken care of these firefighters and EMT and first responders. Do you remember when Jon Stewart had to go to Congress and try to push Republicans to do the basic minimum on providing financial compensation for the health damages that people incurred? So this is the typical kind of crap where they want to laud soldiers, but then deny them benefits. They want to claim ownership over the actions and braveries of others, and then just leave them to rot with cancer or whatever else or health problems they have as a consequence of what they did this day. All right.
There were people helping one another all over the place. Young and old, men and women of every background and race. So grateful.
Yeah, help all the rich white people. White people being helped by people of color. Because, people of color wouldn't be in the building being all rich and stuff. I'm just immediately suspicious that that's the coding here, is that white people are the ones in the white collar jobs and then the first responders and stuff are people of color who actually take the risks. Not entirely, but in this picture,
We were for all the good people tried to do. We climbed into our fire truck, waved, and called out, "Thank you."
Can I also just, I remember this story being told on 9/11. And if you doubt me, I guess, you can look it up on the internet. But I remember hearing that when the towers came down, And obviously they came down first. The first tower that got hit came down, and then a little while later the second. And when that was all going on, hospitals in the New York area had a emergency prepared plan, and it was nice enough day and stuff, so they had moved their triage out into the parking lot. They had cleared off an area, different hospitals cleared out an area for triage to take in the injured and people who needed help as a consequence of the towers falling. But once the towers fell, they didn't get any people in from the towers because they all died. There weren't people to triage. I'm not saying that they didn't get people out of the building and first responders and stuff, but I do remember hearing that it was so lethal, Now, that was just my memory of one newscast, but anyway, for what it's worth.
On to the White House, Dennis said, and zoom. We found ourselves inside an oval-shaped room.
Oh, wait, they're not going to do George Bush reading the Billy the Goat story and having to, have it whispered in his ear? I don't understand. We all know that happened, right? We all know how George W. Bush learned about 9/11. I don't know if some of you are too old. The pet goat, yes. All right, 17 years ago today. I don't know if I'm going to get copyright strike for this one. I will try to... Oh, yeah, here we go. Right? This is what actually happened.
That history. 17 years ago today, President George...
That is him right there being told, right there, right there, that the United States had just been attacked, that the World Trade Towers had been flown into by a commercial airline, and the country was under attack, and look at how he reacts.
George W. Bush was at the school for a reading event when his chief of staff, Andrew Card, whispered in his ear about the attacks. This is the first time President Bush was made aware. In the years since this moment, the president has talked about what he was thinking when he first got the news. He says he was thinking, quote, who the hell would do that to America? The president was later criticized by some for his initial reaction, basically not getting up out of that chair and running out of the room. But the president says he wanted to project a sense of calm for the Booker Elementary School students. It was...
Yeah, because, it's, don't just be a professional, get up and walk away. Honestly, I don't even think that was what was going through his head. I think George Bush, like a deer in headlights, he didn't have a reaction because he was too busy, it was buffering. He was like, and he just looked blank. Look at his eyes. They just look glazed over.
An unbelievable moment that took place right here in the Tampa Bay area. 10 News reporter.
Oh, let's look at that blank, right? That's emptiness. That is empty head right there. So another lie about history. They're not going to actually show George W. Bush being told and then sitting and continuing to read a children's book. They're going to lie to kids by cutting over to him in the Oval Office, because it's all about propaganda with Prager. It's not about the truth, obviously.
President George W. Bush spoke to the nation that...
No, he read a book called My Pet Goat. You lying sacks of crap. Ugh, I hate Prager you.
That night, he said, this is a day when all Americans unite. The terror...
Now, let's one thing they'll leave out is, unlike when Democratic presidents do stuff, when this attack happened on the country, Democrats generally, it was a rally around the flag effect, and Americans on the left stood behind President Bush. I personally, I had a sort of an initial, I never really liked Bush because he stole the election, in my opinion. And so I do remember being I was an anti-war minority, but I lived in Madison, Wisconsin at the time. So if anything, we had anti-war protests going on in Madison, whereas the rest of the country was, they would probably be physically violent if you said you opposed the war in Iraq, which, considering it was Saudi Arabians who attacked us, why are we going to in Iraq? But anyway, yeah, and so Democrats got behind their president, whereas when things happen to the country, when a Democrat's the president, Republicans will just attack them and not be patriotic and not put our common interests aside. So just generally, people on the left are decent human beings in a way that people on the right, just in the way that they act, aren't.
Terrorists tried to scare us and get us to retreat, but our country is strong. America, they can't defeat.
Oh God, this tortured grammar in order to make a rhyme. It's so unnatural. It's so forced. It's so like 7th grade. I think you can do, I mean, honestly, Eminem could probably write this better and have it make more sense without having to do, defeated can be, or whatever weird construction that they do. It's just like idiotic, as well as being right-wing propaganda.
Dennis chimed in. We saw so many people today doing good. Americans helping each other in any...
Honestly, there weren't that many. I mean, like how many, you're trying to claim the actions of all of the first responders, which is great. And I know a lot of New Yorkers helped each other out as well. And that was like common, but that, like, I just feel like they're trying to use people's reactions in a tragedy to cover up other things, like the embarrassment that this event was for America on the international stage, how it was basically a black eye to our reputation and our sense of invulnerability on the global stage, or the fact that the Bush administration, as the 9/11 Commission showed, oversaw an administration that failed to catch this. The 9/11 Commission's not going to come up in this, is it? Of course not. Nor is the fact that Republicans tried to deny first responders the federal coverage that they need and the financial support to deal with the consequences of going into those buildings. Yeah, if they bring up Rudy Giuliani, yeah, Po Mama said, if they bring up Rudy Giuliani, I will scream. All right, let's see what they do.
Way they could. In the days that followed, American flags filled the sky.
Oh, that's because George W. Bush demanded, well, actually, I remember being mad at this. George W. Bush said we could fly the flags at half-mast for 3 days after 9/11. And so I don't actually, putting up flags is such a virtue signaling crap and rally around the flag mindless nationalism. Of course, Prager, you want to highlight that part of it. But honestly, if the nation were in mourning for the death of 3,000 people, most of whom were Americans, plus all of the knock-on effects for the people in New York, shouldn't it have been like a week? Shouldn't we have mourned for 10 days? But 3 days and then we're supposed to be over it? I remember being really upset by that.
The country came together, and we know the reason why.
Okay, what's the reason why?
We waved goodbye to President Bush, jumped back in our fire truck, and gave it a push.
You know the reason. What reason why? What's the reason why? Are you going to explain that? Or is that just to make it rhyme? Oh, your writing is so terrible.
Zoom, Dennis shouted.
Yeah, 3 days, if I remember. I can actually even look. Bush orders flags half staff 9/11. By the authority vested in me as President of the United States by the Constitution, in order to extend the display of flags at half-staff as a mark of respect for the victims of the terrorist attacks on Tuesday, 9/11, is hereby ordered. The President is amending by deleting in the first sentence the words Sunday, September 16th, and inserting in the words September 20th. What's this? Oh, he extended the order. Oh, he might have gotten some crap for it. Yeah, extends the order. Oh, let's see. So this is September 10th, or initially the 5th. Oh, this is 2020. That's not it. But, I guess, this is my, so initially he had the first, Sunday, September 16th, and he changed it to Saturday the 22nd. So he must have, extended it for the victims because he got criticism for it. So anyway,
to the future we go, driving the fire truck with me in tow. We returned to New York on another 11th of September. The city built the 9/11 Memorial to help us remember the place where the towers once.
So you're not going to mention, like, the international deaths that you're trying to exploit here in order to gin up your nationalism? You're going to make this sound like this was only involving Americans and only Americans were affected and not like, I mean, how many, I think it was close to a dozen. How many nationals died 9/11? How many different countries? I can't spell today. Close enough. Let's see. More than 90! During September 11th, 2,977 people were killed. More than 90 countries lost citizens in the attack. But in the American Prager, those people don't exist. They're just going to count all of them as Americans. Bush was an awful president, I agree. I don't like that about 9/11. Americans already are too navel-gazing when it comes to international events and the way that we make invisible. We completely erase other national people, other nationals who were killed that day. Is selfish. It's selfish and self-centered, and it disregards the loss of those families in other countries. So, yeah, immigrants don't count. Even people visiting on business don't count, and they're all Americans.
Stood is now called Ground Zero. People were there to honor the fallen, both victims and heroes. There was so much at the memorial to learn and to see, like what happened that day at the Pentagon and on Flight 93.
Oh God, are they going to go into a bunch of people, like they're going to do this for a 6-year-old? They're going to explain the psychological trauma of knowing you're on a plane that is going down? Really? Is this where we're going here? God, I hope not.
Dennis, I said, what the terrorists did was wrong. They tried to hurt us, Otto, but America is strong.
Why don't you talk about why they're upset and how we funded Osama bin Laden's basically movement in the 1980s while they were funding the Soviet Union? So basically we were being killed with our own weapons. You're gonna leave that part out? You're gonna leave out the concept of blowback that was popularized, an intelligence term, as a consequence of 9/11? How we sowed the seeds for this sort of violence through our foreign policy? Oh, you're not going to mention that. You're just going to make it look like they hate us for our freedoms, huh? Because you want to dehumanize people. Because you're bigots. Right.
Look, I said, pointing at those two beams of light. Dennis said, that's a shining memorial lit up every year on this night. It's September 11th, Otto. We call it Patriot Day. The tribute.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Honestly, imagine if they had done this for Pearl Harbor. Why do you think this is an appropriate topic for children? What happened to age-appropriate education, right? You don't want them to learn anything about their bodies until it's basically too late and they're sexually active. But when it comes to the trauma of a national attack and encouraging hate, mindless hate in people, oh yeah, you're going to make that into a rhyming couplets.
Tribute in light is an inspiring display. Then we hopped into our fire truck and once again zoom. Sirens blasted, wee-ow, wee-ow, back to Dennis's room. That was a very...
Oh, wasn't it fun to look at all the people who died? Oh, wasn't it amazing to look at the carnage? Oh, wasn't it just like a really good outing to go and go to a memorial and think about the pain and suffering of people? Oh, wait, no, we're not going to think about the pain and suffering of people because we're going to ignore that there were non-Americans killed that day. What a wonderful, uplifting tale of death and destruction and terrorism and trauma. Yeah, way to go, freaking propagandists.
Important adventure, I said.
No, we don't
Why
call
is
it
that,
Patriot
Otto?
Day.
Well, I never knew about September 11th and why we must never forget what happened that day.
Oh. Okay. I'm really confused. Right, when we talk about never forgetting, right? There is a like honoring the people who died that day, including the non-Americans. Can we at least acknowledge their existence, PragerU? and also the people who sacrificed, although they were treated like crap afterwards. But I still don't feel like this particular... The Holocaust is something that you say never forget, right? Because there were so many people who were culpable in allowing that to happen, in perpetuating it, in normalizing it, that we have to make that kind of behavior an aberration by never forgetting how far away it is from decent humanity. Why is this like September? Like, you don't have, do they have a book on Pearl Harbor? Do we say don't forget Pearl? I mean, yeah, we kind of like every year, Pearl Harbor, the attack, but it was basically, it's linked to the start of a war, which I guess this is too, if I'm honest. This ended up leading to a war, but it was a war of misadventure. It was it was grounded in lies, and it accomplished nothing, and we lost it. So what are we supposed to remember around September 11th? Never get involved in a land war in Asia? But only slightly less well known is this. Never go in against the Sicilian when death is on the line. Sorry, that's my Princess Bride line. Hey, Bruce, by the way, I'm glad to see you in the chat, because last week after you dropped a message, which I wasn't sure what you were saying, I sent you a message on Facebook, and I don't know that you've checked your Facebook messages to follow up. So just FYI, I did see you, and it's good to see you, Bruce. It's always wonderful to have you here. And I just wanted to follow up with you. So, okay. We are going to get through the last 2 minutes, and then, like I said, I'm on vacation. I'm already 10 minutes over, so then I'm going to sign off.
Yes, said Dennis. America was attacked for being strong and free.
No, it wasn't! No, stop lying! Stop lying! Why are you lying? We were attacked because we were strong and free. We were attacked because of military adventurism in the Middle East. And as a consequence of blowback after 2 decades of funding Mujahideen in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union in order to create destabilizing situations via a proxy war. Why? This is like just perpetuating mindless nationalism and militarism and military adventurism. They're evil. It's so evil. It's so evil and deceptive.
The terrorists tried to destroy our way of life, but they did not.
No, that we're not. Okay, let's grant that. Let's just admit that in terms of attack, Osama bin Laden was wildly successful. He managed to evade our security, to get 4 of our planes, and 3 out of the 4 met their target. Right? So what are we supposed to be proud of here again? Sorry, maybe I put the closed captions. Oh, why is it in Korean? I don't remember setting it for that. Why is it default? That's weird. Okay. I mean, options. Was there a language option? I don't know. It's defaulting to Korean for some. That's auto translate. Okay. Yeah, please auto translate from Korean into English for me. This is so weird. Okay.
What happened that day? Yes, said Dennis. America was attacked for being strong and free.
No, yeah, that was it. We weren't attacked for being strong and free. We were attacked with our own weapons by people who wanted to push us out of their backyards. The lies! The lies!
The terrorists tried to destroy our way of life, but they did not.
Oh yeah, they didn't try to destroy our way of life. They were basically showing us we can get to you. And that message got through. Whatever, I'm not going to say all kinds of, remember Bill Maher being controversial at the time, but it was an international humiliation, and it exposed us as way more vulnerable than we presented ourselves. And in that, it was a victory. The mask was drawn off of this, Second World War. We still have the delusions about saving Europe. Anyway, yeah, let's look at keep looking at the blah, 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 blah. Subtitles. They're pretty funny.
Not succeed.
And
Americans came together even stronger after that terrible attack, I said. That's right, said Dennis. Many people acted like heroes that day.
No, actually, if you remember, there was a really virulent right-wing anti-war backlash for anyone who even questioned the idea that maybe we shouldn't go into Iraq for something that 19 or whatever it was Saudis did. So no, we didn't come together, unless you want to talk about like silencing the minority who thought this was a bad idea and were proved to be right.
Our firefighters, police officers, and first responders displayed the best of America.
Okay, and remind me again how Republicans, let's just remind ourselves of the reality of this, right? Jon Stewart, yeah, and then testify 9/11 responders. I think it was the way it was phrased at the time. All right, here's Jon Stewart. That's 9 minutes. This is, yeah, okay, here we go. Thank you. I'm happy. So I'll just read this out. The former Daily Show host delivered an emotional and scathing statement to Congress over its handling of benefits for 9/11 first responders and victims. Stewart testified before the House Judiciary Committee on Tuesday alongside first responders and victims, but only a handful of politicians even appeared at the hearing, prompting a visibly angry Stewart to condemn the treatment of survivors. They couldn't even be bothered. What is this? This is just more Prager lies because the Congress Republicans didn't freaking care. All right, let's try to get away with this on YouTube.
As I sit here today, I can't help but think what an incredible metaphor this room is for the entire process that getting health care and benefits for 9/11 first responders has come to. Behind me, a filled room of 9/11 first responders, and in front of me, a nearly empty Congress. Sick and dying, they brought themselves down here to speak to no one. It's shameful. It's an embarrassment to the country, and it is a stain on this institution.
Put that in the book, Dennis Prager. Put these truths in your book of lies. It wasn't all happy. People didn't come together. Once again, the working class was left behind by the elites. You want to praise them when it costs you nothing. And then you don't even show up for the hearings when it's time to pay out. And this is the kind of lie. This is the sort of like, love it or leave it. We're not going to talk about the bad things. We're going to leave all those things out and only do the hero stuff so that when you hear the truth later, you're already emotionally invested in our lie. It's brainwashing. It's propaganda for children. Just put a Nazi swastika on it already.
Land of the free and home of the brave. We will never forget them, I barked.
Congress forgot them within a decade. When was this? 9/11 happened in, yeah, so this was Tuesday, 2001? God, was it that long ago? This is still going on. The people were left behind. Your people you're celebrating were left behind. And you're leaving out that because it was Republicans who screwed them over.
And we will never forget September 11th.
But we won't pay them a dime for their health problems, for their psychological trauma. No. Just a thank you is enough. You get a paycheck. That's enough. Sort it out yourself. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
God bless Patriot Day.
Yeah, ask God to sort this crap out if Congress isn't. Oh, God, this just makes me disgusted.
God bless Patriot Day. We will never forget.
And we won't pay a dime to help the people who suffered. This is just evil.
Rough. The end. Now, that was a kind of story we've never read before.
Yeah, because it was sick and twisted and inappropriate for kids. Someone who thought better used to work here, but clearly that person got fired because it got in the way of your propaganda agenda.
Did you think, Otto? I agree with you. We should salute all those police officers.
Yeah, more empty virtue signaling that makes you feel better about something you didn't do, but doesn't solve the problems of the people who lived it. It's such a Prager solution. All right. Well, hey y'all. I already went 15 minutes over than I wanted to, but it was good to finish that. You don't need to see the rest of that. You know how that's going to go. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to go on vacation now. But oh, I've got an exciting announcement. Tonight at 11 p.m. my time, 10 p.m. UK time, and I think is that 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I don't know, something like that. Check on Kevin Logan's Twitch channel because Dusty Smith, Kevin, and I are all going to be doing a happy hour live on air. So we're gonna go over to Kevin's channel. I don't know when he sets up the streams or whatever, but go check that out. And yeah, I'm gonna be on holiday this week. So next week will probably also be kind of a lame session because I am trying to like reduce the amount of mental energy I'm using up for these 2 weeks. But until next time, y'all, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your time and your attention. And until next week, all that's left to be said is that I've been Kristi. You've been awesome. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And I've been Kristi. You've been awesome. Goodbye, wherever it is, whenever it is you are. Stay healthy and well. Bye.